I just wanted to go over a few points about some handwriting that would be very interesting. I remember years ago I was listening to the radio, and there was this newscaster called Joe Pine, and he said that somebody had told him to write his letters a little differently and form certain letters a little differently than he had been doing. And he said all of a sudden he developed a stuttering, and he usually never stuttered. And there's a connection between handwriting and thought, and the way somebody thinks will be reflected in their handwriting, and what their handwriting is reflects what they think. So it's vice versa. But I'm going to go over a few points that I found to be very accurate from doing a lot of people, analyzing their handwriting. And a lot of it's really very simple, and you just have to have the concept, and there's a lot you could say about someone. Now, the way somebody crosses the bottom loop on a name, as an example, this bottom loop comes right up to a line, and we're going to pretend that there is no line just to give you some idea of the relationship of distance, top and bottom. The bottom represents the physical of somebody and how long they've been emotionally satisfied. If the bottom loop comes right up to the line, it indicates that they've been emotionally satisfied, pretty much so. The one to the far right is somewhat, and the one in the middle is not. In other words, the person's really not satisfied. Here they are, here they're not, and here they're a little bit. It's not as bad. But the bottom loop indicates emotional satisfaction. Now, when somebody has crowded handwriting, one letter on top of the other, they're trying to get closer to people. And when the handwriting is straight up and down, like this, T and Tom and Thomas, they kind of like living in the now. If it was bent backwards to the left, they're living in the past. And they're very conservative. Sometimes they border on being shy or cloistered. Sometimes, if it's real bad and it's extreme, they can have a persecution complex or an inferiority complex. Now, so this is an example here when writing starts getting crowded. Some people write so crowded that one word is literally falling on top of the other one. And when you see crowded handwriting, it means that the person's trying to get closer to other people around them. Now, I found that when somebody ends a letter, like in the name Jones, with the S with the backwards flip, like the line that curves around and almost comes back on itself, it's a person that counts and rechecks things. Now, this is an example, I'm only scribbling, but of crowded writing. Some people write like that. And like I said, that usually means that they try to be close to other people. They're trying to get closer. Now, when the first letter of a name or a word has a distance from the rest of the body of the word, the person needs a lot of personal space. And the further the first letter is from the rest of them, the more space they need. Now, in the name Kathy, you'll notice that the T is pretty high on top. That means the person would have pretty good self-esteem. And you notice that the Y is crossed at the invisible line, like the J, and that means that they're pretty well emotionally satisfied, such as it is in the name Roy and Kathy, and the J in the good illustration. When you see people write with a triangle, like the word J, it has almost a triangle, they're very creative. And when you see a lot of little loops in the name, like in the L and in different spots, the person likes a lot of detail. so they're very detail oriented. So these are just some interesting points. And when you look at handwriting, you get a sense about somebody. And I always felt with anything metaphysical or when you're analyzing or evaluating anybody, that a lot has to do with what you feel. And if you touch the paper that they wrote on, or you touch the word where they wrote it, you'll get some feelings too. Because I always believe that most psychic things have some psychotromic effect, psychometry. I call it psychotromic, which means you're going to get some feelings from the objects that the person handled. But these are some examples, and they're real easy, and you see it in handwriting, and it really gives you some extremely good indicators.